Ian O'Brien here, and with the help of this mirror and this Siberian tiger, I'm going to show you how you can overcome any fear or anxiety to play guitar confidently in front of others. Now, my background, obviously, I'm known as a guitar teacher, and it's something I've been doing for around 20 years now. But before I was exclusively teaching guitar, I was working within a music college, and it was my job to teach as well as guitar, to also teach performance. So during that period of time, I developed quite a lot of strategies and approaches with the people that I was working with that I found to be really, really valuable, and I wanted to share them with you here today. So the problem we're really talking about here is not in terms of performing like on stage, or you want to play in stadiums or do gigs in front of lots of people. It's much more humble than that. This sort of came to light recently with a student of mine, Steve, and the experience that he was facing is when he practiced the guitar, everything went okay. He could play songs, he could strum, he could change chords, and he was really enjoying his playing of the guitar and learning from the very beginning. And what was happening though is when he took his guitar playing and he wanted to show it in front of family members and a particular family member, but what happened is, even though he could do those things on his own, when he showed them in front of somebody else, it kind of fell apart. Like his playing became, as he described, messy and kind of panicked, and his heart started racing a bit. He became incredibly self-conscious. And, this was happening when there was anybody around, not just somebody who was sort of focused on what he was doing and watching them, but just if they could overhear it as well. And, his fingers didn't know where to go, and the strumming became confused. And it happens. I've come across people time and time again with this situation. It's not about the technical aspects of learning the guitar. You can do it. It's about the aspect of taking your guitar and for other people to be around. And it's this incredibly frustrating situation. And really, this is something that happens to everybody in all different kinds of situations. And it's something that we can absolutely, we don't have to settle with. It's something that we can overcome. That's really the message here that I want to let you know, that there are specific strategies that I'm going to give you today that will allow you to move from this situation to a situation where you can confidently play in front of other people. You can share your music with friends and family and things like that. And if you do want to, take it out in front of people you don't know, of course, that's kind of an option as well. But what's really happening here, this is why I want to get to this picture of this ferocious beast. This fella is a Siberian tiger. I took this off the wall from my little girl's nursery today. She really loves cats, and she doesn't realize how big these things are in real life. But what happens, obviously, if we're posed with one of these fellas in real life, and it even says in the little footnote that they, like all tigers, it is a potential man-eater. We'd have a real genuine fear of an animal like that in face-to-face in the wild. And we've evolved, to be out in the plains, not to be in homes and things. And what happens with these moments where we're scared is it's a small part of our brains called the amygdala. And that's kind of a threat detection device. Like, it comes from a time when it was very, very useful for us to be scared and to get out of situations that raised our heart rate and made us panic for survival. But obviously, in the modern world, these things can be triggered from things that are new experiences, okay, that we haven't come across before. But it's unhelpful for it to be triggered in that situation. But obviously it panics us, and we get this whole situation that many people experience with the guitar and, wanting to share it with other people. And in conjunction with this kind of triggering of our sort of fight or flight responses and our, that kind of stuff, we also have something related to our self-confidence. And really it's something that we call imposter syndrome, and it's something that absolutely everyone suffers with from time to time, at some point or another in their lives. It's usually something we don't want to happen. It's not warranted. And because we're usually our own worst critics, it can really batter our self-esteem. And this is something that, they're interrelating, and we come across these every time we experience something that is unknown. But it's also something, we experience the unknown when we're learning new things. So they go hand in hand to kind of create a bit of a perfect storm that makes it difficult to just share what we're doing with our guitar playing in front of other people. So these things are absolutely normal. Don't feel like you're a weirdo for being a bit nervous, and you know, and your hands getting shaky and stuff when you try to play when someone else can hear you. It's absolutely in your power to overcome these situations and to play music in front of other people and to play your guitar to, you know, your wife, your spouse, your kids, that kind of thing, the grandchildren even. Here's what we do and how we approach it. So we've got a couple of different sets of strategies. First up is things we can do actually in the moment while we're experiencing this stuff. And then we're going to talk about things that we do in terms of preparation. So the first thing is to kind of counter our panic and our heart rate going up and our fight or flight responses is to begin breathing much more deeply. When we get nervous, when we get in those situations, we start breathing very shallow. We're taking in less oxygen. We've got less oxygen getting to our brain. It adds to the intensity and the fear. We want to get out of that situation. So the first thing we do to counter that is we make sure we're breathing really deeply. We don't have to do anything special or fancy with our breathing. Just make sure that you're taking big, slow, longer, deep breaths. And if your belly is moving when you breathe in, your belly is coming out, that's what we're looking for. So we're not doing shallow breathing with the chest where maybe the shoulders go up and down. If you're doing a proper deep breath, it's actually your stomach, because it's your diaphragm that's filling up, and that's how we know we're getting the right breath. So while you're playing, if you start to panic, begin making sure you're doing long, drawn out, deep breaths to come back to your body, to slow down those panic kind of defenses and stuff like that, and begin to release any tension. As you panic, you'll start to tighten up a little bit. It often comes from the jaw, down through the neck, into the hands, and that tension is going to throw you off what you're doing in terms of what you're playing. It's going to add to your feelings of panic and things, the tightness, and the tightness is going to make it harder for you to play. So the thing becomes a spiral. So you've got the tightness coming in with the tension, you've got the breathing, but you've also got what's going on in your mind as well, the kind of things you're saying to yourself and the kind of things you're experiencing sort of upstairs. And they can all, you know, add up to kind of defeat you in this situation. So we breathe, we release tension, shake it out, make sure nothing is creeping in. And then the other thing is, in terms of what's going on in your head, often we hear a lot of negative self-talk when we're in this situation, like, oh, we're going to make a mistake, we're going to mess it up, we only just managed to do that correctly, and it's only going to last for so long, and what's the other person going to think? Are they judging us? You know, are they going to be critical? Are we not playing it as well as the original recording of the artist who, you know, did 100 takes in the studio anyway? Our mind starts racing, we start getting stuck in our heads, and we're not focused on what we're actually doing so much, and that can sort of scupper us. So what we do to come out of our heads is something we call anchoring, and we really just want to engage our senses and get ourselves back to the physical world that we're in. And with this one, with the guitar, you know, we have some nice guitars, often they're made of wood, or any guitar, interesting materials and things like that, you know, probably come from hundreds of miles away, and have grown for a long while, is to actually feel the sensation of the instrument. So while you're playing, while you're strumming away, just feel what the wood on the back of the neck of the guitar feels like on your thumb. It's going to pull you into the present moment, out of those thoughts in your head. You could also be thinking about how it feels to hold the plectrum in your hands if you're using one. Okay, don't focus on things like the plectrum moving, but actually just the sensation of the plastic between your fingers, the connection as you feel the tension as you strike through the strings. Just bring yourself back. You could be moving in time, you could be tapping your foot. Just feel the weight of your foot on the ground, the weight of your body sitting on the chair, or if you're standing, your feet on the ground, okay, to feel strongly connected with these sensations. You can even just, you know, bring your awareness to any smells that are happening in the room. Like if you've got plants and stuff around, you might smell those. I don't know, if it's a hot day, you might smell other stuff, but it's useful. It can really help to bring you back. So we've got the deep breathing, we've got the releasing of any tension, and we've got anchoring to the moment to sort of quieten that mind and bring you back to what you're really doing, okay? So that's the stuff we do in the moment that can reduce all of those sensations of panic. Now, the other things are really preparation. In the military, they kind of have a saying which is something like, we don't live up to our ambitions or our dreams, we actually go down to the standard of our training. So it's not like we're looking for some sort of miracle performance or to fluke something with our guitar playing that we've never done. That's unlikely to happen, especially with our nerves. But it's actually that we want to prepare so that what we're doing feels normal to us and actually is normal to us. So we don't panic in that situation. Now, this is something that I call normalisation. And the way we do this, it's really about not jumping in and throwing yourself in the deep end and being like, God, face the fear and this kind of stuff. It's more about actually taking action, definitely, because the thought of the fear is often worse than the fear itself, and it can build up over time. So we definitely take action. We do it in small chunks. We do it stage by stage, starting with something that's very small, very easy to do, and we gradually expose ourselves to that more over time in a way that feels safe and a way that feels comfortable. So one of the ways we can do this is, rather than setting up a situation where you're going to perform for someone or you're going to play a song, it's more like if they're around, if they're in the house or something, maybe another room, but you can sort of hear them there. That's maybe the time to practice the guitar or do a little bit of strumming, okay? Just get used to the fact that somebody might be able to hear you distantly in a room. They're not even focusing on what you're doing, okay? And you don't have to be playing complete songs. You could just be strumming a couple of chords, doing something very simple, very comfortable, okay? Maybe you gradually leave the door open a little bit more in the room that you're practicing, or you're on the same floor as them rather than you're in a completely different place. And you just get a little bit comfortable with the fact that they might be around, or you can, do it in the back garden. Maybe there are some neighbors around, and just gently do a little bit of something. It's not a performance. It's just a playful thing. You're just practicing and just enjoying it. And we do that over time, like on a weekly basis. You'll begin to get used to this situation. Your anxiety will come down. Your overreactive defenses, the amygdala, will stop firing so much. And you can gradually build to this. It could be that you've got a trusted person that is very encouraging of your learning to play the guitar. They don't expect you to do some rock star performance or anything like that. They're just encouraging that they know you're learning. It's not going to be perfect. And that's the ideal kind of person we would have around when we're playing. And you can, if you get in a situation where it's really comfortable with that person around, then you could maybe add another trusted person. You could gradually increase. If you want to, play at barbecues or around the fire pit or something like that, you can just build it person by person, starting with really trusted people. Now, if you're choosing somebody who isn't particularly encouraging of your want to play guitar and of your guitar playing journey and of your practicing, that's really another issue. And that isn't the person to use to help you to build confidence playing in front of people. It's not really going to work. That's more about having taking that person aside, having a conversation with them about what it really means to you to learn to play. Maybe you feel like you've wanted to do this your whole life and you've left, you're worried you've left it too late. And so when they say things that are doubting that you'll be able to do it, or pointing out mistakes, or not wanting to hear you practice and things, they're adding to how hard it is for you to do, and that you really need them on your side to be able to practice and play the guitar. But you really want somebody who's trusted and that you feel comfortable around in all kinds of ways to build the experience and get used to the environment of playing with other people around. And another thing you can do, if you don't have anyone immediately around or anyone in mind, is that you could begin recording your playing. Just having that red light on and having the recording. You don't even have to listen to the recordings yourself. It will trigger a little bit of your fear, a little bit of your nerves, and you can get a little bit more used to that experience and what it feels like. And you'll get used to it, and it will come down. No one's going to see those things. They don't have to be perfect. And that's a great thing to do as well in terms of the recording. And another thing is to really, in terms of normalisation, to bridge the gap between something that you're absolutely comfortable doing and that you love and that you enjoy, with the showing somebody your guitar playing. Okay, so if you can sort of put yourself in the state of mind of the other thing that you do, like maybe you golf in front of other people, or you ride motorcycles, or you drive a car with other people in, and you don't feel weird like people are watching you because you might make a mistake. You're comfortable in that situation. Or maybe at work you demonstrate things to people, or you show them things. And think about what you're like in that situation, how calm you are, what your posture's like, how relaxed you are, and bring that kind of thought and that, how you feel in that situation. Try to bring that into your guitar playing when someone's there, and get into that relaxed state. You're more likely to be relaxed in that situation. Then another thing that can hold you back and cause these kind of problems is really comparison. Like if you set yourself a very high bar, like you're listening to the original recording, you're watching performances of professional musicians play their songs, and you're expecting to be able to do that, or people who've been practicing and learning for longer than you, okay, that's going to make you feel bad about your playing. It's not a helpful thing to do. In terms of comparison, a much more helpful thing that's going to be useful for you is simply to compare yourself with where you were before. Like, where were you a year ago? Where were you last month? Where were you last week? And that's your point of comparison. It's about your own journey and your own sense of progress. And now, this one is why I have the mirror here. And this one it's very important. It's quite a powerful thing, because if you're a person who's inclined to hold other people to a high standard and be quite judgmental of other people. So you see people play the guitar, or amateurs, and you feel like maybe they shouldn't be sharing it because they're not good enough to share it yet. And you notice the mistakes, and you feel like it could be done better. And it's kind of the judging faculties is sort of the front of your brain, the executive function that comes in. Then often that can be the thing that holds you back, because if you go around in the world with these views, holding people to this high standard, judging their enjoyment and their efforts at playing guitar, that really can act as a mirror. That can be reflecting right back at you. You can be experiencing your own generated judgments. Do you know what I mean? You're going to assume that other people that can hear you play are having the kind of judgments that you have on you, so that you get this kind of a mirror effect. You expect people to behave the way that you automatically do, and it might not be something you purposefully do. I'm not saying it's about being like a nice person or not nice person. It's just some people default to these ways of thinking. They're particularly analytical, that kind of stuff. So what we really want to do is really be encouraging other people. Let go of the judgment. If you see somebody who's learning to play, and it could be online, it could be in person, just encourage whatever they're doing and their efforts, and think about the distance that they've come, the challenges they've overcome. They could be having arthritis, they might have had their wrists reconstructed. I have some students in that situation, and it doesn't mean they can't learn to play the guitar. So we want to be absolutely encouraging of effort and trying and sharing this love and passion for the music, which is why we pick up these guitars, isn't it? These songs mean things to us, and we want to share them. We want to progress ourselves, and the more you start thinking of other people in that way, the less you expect other people to treat you that way, and it can really release your ability to play with other people around and to hear you. So the mirror is a really, really crucial one. And finally, is really about, it's similar in a way, it's about wanting to control the outcome of the situation, wanting your playing to be absolutely perfect, and that you have the reins at all times. And music really isn't like that, and learning music isn't really like that. It's in that situation, it's more about sharing what you're doing, your journey, your learning, your attempts with somebody, because you're probably going to show them further down the line as well, and they're going to see how far you've come and all the effort you've put in. You're not looking for them to see you as somebody who could naturally play the guitar, or you would have been doing it years ago. Everybody learns and goes through this learning journey. So you give yourself permission to not be perfect, and to progress and to expand your comfort zone and your learning step by step as you go. Be willing to make mistakes, okay? Give yourself permission to make mistakes, because that's the only way we're going to learn, and to have fun with it on the way. So we want to drop any kind of perfectionism. It's going to hold us back. And we want to drop any sort of unrealistic expectations. You're not going to nail the song the first time you play it in front of somebody. If you've never played in front of anybody, you're not going to play it like the person who wrote that. It's not going to happen. We progress and we gradually build to it. Share what you're doing, okay? Enjoy it, and think about the journey and the challenges that you're overcoming on the way to it. All musicians make mistakes, all of them, live, in the studio. That's why they do multiple takes in the studio, okay? Everyone makes mistakes. It's about how your attitude towards it, not letting it completely throw you off of what you're doing, about carrying on and gliding through it. That's really playing music. It's not like it has to be perfect, and if it's not, game over. Okay, that's really how we learn. So they're the steps, okay? So it's an experience that everyone faces at some time or another. It's totally normal. It's something that you can overcome. We just want that part of your brain to stop over-triggering by normalizing the situation. So while we're playing, there's things like deep breathing, releasing the tension that we're doing and anchoring ourselves to that present moment to stop the mind and the, telling ourselves things and throwing us off. We want to be immersed in that moment. Then the other side of things is the preparation we put in to normalize that situation through gradual exposure to it. And, letting go of any judgment, letting go of any comparison to anyone else, and just enjoying what you're doing and sharing your music. So there we go. They really are the steps that we need to overcome. And I've seen this completely transform people's guitar playing. You might be the kind of person who feels like you never want to play in front of anybody. And that's absolutely fine. But some people do harbor a want to share what they've spent their time doing just with family or friends and that kind of thing, and you absolutely can, and the more you expand the zone that you're comfortable in, the more comfortable you feel, the more sort of sense of freedom that you have. It can be quite a liberating thing. So there we have it. I've been Ian O'Brien. If you like this stuff, give the video a like, give it a share, give me a comment below. Let me know what you think, if there's any key things in here that you found particularly useful, or whatever your thoughts are, and I'll see you soon.